show. Can you believe it? I got here. I actually am walking. I spent 2 weeks in a wheelchair, then with a walker. First, they gave me crutches, and that didn't do very well because I actually ended up getting my arms all bruised from falling into walls on crutches. So if ever you have an injury, don't take crutches home. Make sure they give you something better. So anyway, I am Georgia Rose from Zencuda Community, and welcome everyone here on Strong Island, Paradise Studios. I am coming to you from the East Coast of the United States of America in New York, and I hope that we have a lot of people on tonight because I need some support. First time back here in a while. So last time I was on, we had people from Australia, Texas, and everywhere. So if you would be so good to share the show, I'm really excited tonight to bring you a new feature where if you email me at connect@zencuda.com, your birth information. I will be picking two people on every show. And at the end of every show, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a chart reading for your natal chart, or maybe a transit that's happening right now in your chart. We're going to do that. And that'll be really fun because you guys can follow along or you can learn things about astrology yourself. If you want to kind of follow along with the astrology portion of our show, you can always download a free chart from astrology.com or cafeastrology.com and, learn a little bit about astrology with me. So I am here every Monday at 7 o'clock. And this is a show about all things metaphysical. It's also a show that really is here to help you on your journey to self-discovery. And so we use a lot of different modalities to do that. Anything from astrology, which I am an astrologer, to healing modalities. Sometimes we have special guests on. Sometimes we have authors on. Anything that I feel is a medium that can help you in your daily life trying to discover yourself and discover your soul purpose is what we do in the soul space. So I hope you'll share the show and get some people to join our community. So tonight, what I really want to talk about first is what's going on in the world astrologically, because if you've been on my other media, either zencuda.com or my YouTube channel Zencuda or any of my social media on Facebook or Instagram, you know that I've been talking a lot about the upcoming eclipses. And these are very, very powerful. You can go back and look at my two latest videos. I talk a lot about the lunar eclipse that's happening on March 25th in Libra, and also the solar eclipse, which is happening on April 8th in Aries. And the Aries Libra axis in our charts is very much about relationships. So we're all going to be undergoing a lot of changes in the next several weeks, and those changes will continue for a few months. But right now, today, want to talk about some things that are going on in the sky. You've been hearing me talk a lot about Pisces energy, which is where Neptune is. Neptune is ruled by Pisces. And also you've been hearing me talk a lot about the Aries energy because we have a lot of planets now going into Aries, especially this week. The sun goes into Aries and we have the spring equinox, which is when the sun is at 0 degrees of Aries. And in the astrology world, we think of that as New Year because it's actually 0 degrees is the most potent and important degree of the whole 360 degrees of the zodiac wheel, because that is the beginning. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. It comes right before Aries. So all of these planets that are at the end of Pisces, pretty soon in the next few weeks, are going to be all going into Aries. And that means completely new energy, new emergence, new beginnings for all of us, and new direction in our life, depending on where that is in your chart. So really exciting times. So right now, a lot of us have been feeling kind of like we can feel that something new is going to happen for us and we can feel something new coming, but we're not really sure what it is. I know a lot of you probably feel that way. And I've been getting a lot of messages and comments on a lot of our media about feeling like that. And the reason we're feeling like that is because Neptune in Pisces is making us very dreamy, very foggy. It's actually been there for about 12 or 13 years. And depending on exactly where it is in that sign, it's been amplified and by other planets when other planets kind of go near it and cross over it, and then we'll feel a little different every time. And right now we have a situation where the sun is actually going very close to Neptune in Pisces, because the sun is at the last degrees of Pisces, getting ready to go into that 0 degrees of Aries, which comes next. That's when we call it the first day of spring, the spring equinox, when the sun goes into Pisces, it goes into Aries. So the Sun and Neptune are together in the last degrees of Pisces right now. So the Sun is illuminating that Neptune energy, that Neptunian floaty kind of like, well, I really want to think about this, but it's kind of abstract and I can't really get a hold of it. It's fluid. It's like trying to capture water. It's like our intuition is very heightened. Our need to be in spirituality and meditate is very heightened. But right now, because it's at the last degrees of the sign and the sun is there, what's happening for a lot of us, myself included this weekend, and don't forget, we just had that new moon in Pisces on the 10th, which probably revealed a lot of things for you guys. We're reliving a lot of the energies that Neptune caused for us the last 13 years while it's been in Pisces. So think about that timeline for you, that what happened, 13 years ago, around that, what was 13 years ago, 2012, 2011. So think about what was going on then. What were some of the things that happened to you? What were the themes playing out then? And have you been thinking about those things a lot more lately? I know 2011 and 2012 was major, major life change for me. It was actually when I first really, I had been on the journey of spirituality for many years, but that time period, 2011, 2012, was when I really came out and delved into it and started a business called Georgia Rose Connection and started to do readings publicly and astrology. And I was writing a blog about my journey. And I really, really dived deep into the spirituality of my belief system and my life. And so that's coming out again now in yet another phase. It's almost like another rung on the staircase because I'm rebranding Zenkuda and redoing a lot of things. And I'm in a very deep mentorship program for astrology to learn evolutionary astrology more deeply now. So it's almost like a parallel of that time in my life, only on a much deeper level in a different circumstance. So look at where that's kind of happening for you guys. And I don't know if anybody wants to share or call into the show and maybe talk about where you were then and what you can see the parallel to be. During that time in my life, I was undergoing a divorce from a very long relationship and marriage. And I was thinking about that a lot over this past weekend. It was like the energy just started to repeat those feelings and what I was going through at that time. And I actually found myself in quite a bit of gratitude for the journey and was thinking about how during that time when it was happening, it was like the worst time of my life. And I was like, didn't even know how to survive it because the emotions that were coming to the surface were so extremely flooding. And so, every boundary that I had in my life was just dissolved suddenly. And that's what Neptunian transits will do for us. And especially when Neptune is in its home sign of Pisces, it's going to be a situation where boundaries are dissolved and things become very fluid. And maybe we even dissolve our own boundaries. And it's usually in the themes of like spirituality, connection to source. That was the time period when I first really started to develop my psychic gifts. And even though they had been there my whole life, I, gave myself the permission to actually develop them and become a medium. And once I opened to that idea, it started to happen really, really in an accelerated way. And then that started to dissolve other boundaries in my life because I had been brought up very strictly religious. But then it started to dissolve relationship boundaries where people couldn't accept that I was that. And other people, when I started to go into these spiritual communities locally, and I would read at shows and do certain things, the other readers would start to become a little envious of some of the ability I had to really read and get to the root of things. And there would be people who were like really trying to pursue that and trying to develop those talents and not being as accelerated as I was. And that was a whole dissolution of boundaries for me where I learned to surrender to something instead of chasing it. And for those of you out there who are in these beginning stages or in any stage of trying to pursue your psychic gifts and you're in a situation where you're like, wow, I wish I could really, get a hold of this or get more connection or develop more spiritual gifts as far as clairvoyance or whatever your talent is. What I found was it's not up to us to chase it. It's not up to us to go to a class and develop it. You surrender to it. It's there. As I've said many times, when you are developing your ability, whether it's to read tarot or whatever it is. You don't go to someone to learn your dictionary. You open and allow spirit to tell you your dictionary, and you tell it to spirit. You know, when I see this card, spirit, this is going to mean this. Is that right? And then you'll get confirmation. That's how you develop your psychic ability. That intuition is about a connection with source, the energy that created us. So someone who is on earth and grounded here and is human can't teach you that. It's something that you learn through the spiritual realm. So, you know, just my little going off on a tangent about that, but that was the time when when Neptune first went into Pisces, around that time. And so now the parallel for me is I'm really deepening my astrological gifts by using my intuition and my psychic abilities. And I'm in a mentorship program now where I am learning learning chart work in a very different way to pair it with the feeling that I get when I look at a chart, and to be able to somatically read and psychically read the birth chart. And that's something that I've always done, but now getting the tools that I need within myself, having someone who has been through that journey show me where those tools are within me is really important. I couldn't go to that person and say, teach me how to do this, but I can go to that person and say, teach me how to find this in myself. And that's really what Zenkuda is all about, and the soul space is all about, is opening to the possibility of us being able to find what unlocks our own individuation and where our soul space is within us, right? So this is the parallel to that Neptune in those final degrees of Pisces. Next March, it will be going into Aries, and everything will change as far as the spiritual world and a lot of the things that have been changed for us in the last decade. Because in the last decade, you've seen almost a mainstream of things like this show and psychic ability and astrology and the metaphysical world, which didn't used to be so mainstream. In the Neptune and Pisces decade, it became more open, more connected, more mainstream. Now, when we go Neptune into Aries in March of 2025, you're going to see that shift of, it's not going to be so woo-woo, everything's cool, let's all go get a reading. It's going to be more in action. It's going to be more fire. It's not going to be so fluid. It's going to be challenged. And it'll be a lot of new healing modalities coming out. You'll see a lot of new ways to discern your psychic ability and intuition. And by that, I mean, how do you know it's not AI, right? So there's going to be a lot of things that come up next year. So now is the year when we're in those final degrees of the Piscean energy of Neptune and Pisces. And don't forget, Saturn is there also now. Saturn is in Pisces. So all this Piscean energy, which makes us become unbound, and dissolution of boundaries, it's really going to be heightened for us in the next few months as that final degrees of Pisces is really illuminated. So think about maybe what Neptune did for you in the last 13 years, and how has the energy of Neptune played into your life and your life direction in the last 13 years. Because that's really a big part of this week coming up, as the sun goes right into what we call a cazimi, which is when the sun hits another planet. They're in the same degree of the zodiac. I believe this happens at like 27, 28 degrees, one of the final degrees of Pisces, and it's going to illuminate the last 12, 13 years of that energy for us. So this week we also have the spring equinox, which is on tomorrow, the 19th. And that is a whole new astrological year, as I said. What I would do with spring equinox, if you can, is maybe some kind of a ritual. And by that, I mean, it could be anything from just, if it's sunny tomorrow where you are, going out in the sun, allowing the sun to kind of, enter into the crown chakra, maybe doing a little meditation about newness and rebirth, resurrection. That 0 degree of Aries is the 0 point energy of the zodiac, 0 point energy of the world. The symbolism of 0 point energy is its complete source. It's like you are completely connected to the energy that created us. For me, that's God. So tomorrow, when we have the first day of spring and the sun hits that 0 degrees of Aries, it really is a fabulous time to set in motion your intentions for where you want your life to be, who you want to become, what energy is emerging in your life right now, and where do you need to take up space in your life in order to make those things a truth, a reality for you. So this is a whole new cycle. The sun has been through all 12 signs of the zodiac and now is starting over as soon as the spring equinox comes and the sun is in that 0 degree. When I talked about the planet Neptune before in Pisces and how next year it's getting ready now to go into Aries because Neptune is very slow moving. So we're in the final degrees of Pisces energy with Neptune and then it'll go to Aries. The reason why that is so potent is because Neptune stays in a sign for like 12, 13 years, like we were just saying. So it takes Neptune 165 years to go through the whole zodiac. So we've never been alive when Neptune was in the final degrees of Pisces going into Aries. There's a reason we were all born to experience this energy. There's a reason why the cycles of life are being shown to us so seriously in this time frame and with the sun going into Aries, which is all new beginning. So think about in the next couple of weeks as Neptune and Saturn starts to come up against Neptune also. Saturn is inching up on Neptune now. And Saturn is a very different energy than Neptune. Saturn is an energy of limitation and constriction. And Neptune is unbound. Neptune just wants to like become larger and float around and fly with the angels and find Jesus and show you the impossible. You know, think Disney World, you know. That's Neptunian energy. And so when Saturn starts inching up close to Neptune, Neptune's like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing here? I don't want you by me. You're too restrictive. You're going to, put me in a container. I don't want you around." So it's a tough energy. That's why we feel this push-pull. That's where we're like, I'm dreaming this beautiful dream and I think I can accomplish anything. But wait, something's telling me I can't do this. Something's making me insecure. Something's like pulling my string tighter. You know, you're a balloon and you're a kite and you want to like fly way over the ocean and you have an infinite amount of rope or string that can be let out to let you fly and fly and fly. And all of a sudden Saturn comes and says, "You're going to run out of string if you go any higher." That's the energy. That's going to be with us for a couple of weeks. The March 25th lunar eclipse is going to play into that energy because it's going to make you release something. That voice that's saying, "You're going to run out of string. You can't go any higher. You can't do this." The origination of that voice, that energy, where that originated from in your psyche, is going to be revealed to you on the lunar eclipse, and you're going to let it go. And by the time we get to the April 8th solar eclipse, that is when you're going to be like, of course I can let out more string. Of course I can fly as high as I want to. I'm me. I'm a beautiful, miraculous creature, and I see my path now. I see how high I really want to go. I want to be on that cloud. I want to leave this cloud behind. And that's how the story is going to go for all of us. So I hope you all get that. And I hope I didn't do too many funny voices and weird stuff, because lately I've been doing that a lot. I don't think it's psychosis. I think it's just me being free to be me. Individuation. You got to love all that Aquarian energy in the sky. So let me look at my comments. I hope I'm entertaining you guys anyway. Okay. Hey, Monica. Hey, Kim. Hey, Gina Marie. And Cheryl is on. Glad you found us. Monica, I said, Sarah, hope things are going well with you. I love Sarah. Maria, how are you doing? Good to see you too. I know I have never been so grateful to walk in my life, and I'm actually grateful for the gratitude, because when things like this happen, you're like, oh, I can walk. I'm so grateful. It just really renews your whole life. Kim Murray, thank you. I am getting around better. Gina, thank you. Mark Strodel made it to us. Mark is an amazing artist. You guys have to hop over on his social media. That's Mark Strodel, Strodl. I pronounce it like yodel. I hope that's right. Joanna Maya, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well too. Aaron, love me some Aaron. I hope that he is decided. He's trying to figure out if he wants to get a bigger apartment or not. Carrie Ann is watching. We're going to have Carrie Ann on the show. I just have to apologize because I have been really remiss at following up with Carrie Ann, but we are going to have her on. She's got a great survival story. just about life and soul journey. And my bud, Stephanie Kalanoff, is on board. She loves my voices. But then Stephanie loves everything about me, and I love everything about Steph. We have like this mutual admiration society. So I got to watch my time because I know I popped into the studio a little late. So if you guys have any questions about the current energy, either pop it into the comments or 516-945-9099. You can call into the show and actually ask some things. The only other thing I wanted to tell you guys about this energy is that all this energy is leading up to eclipse season. And this is one of the most potent eclipse seasons that we've had probably in maybe 10 or 20 years, because these eclipses that are happening, not only are they on the nodes, but they're in Libra and Aries. So this is new beginnings, and it's new beginnings with relationship and the way you relate to things in the world. So make sure that you're really preparing yourself for these new beginnings. Really be honest and go into truth and really think about, what do I really need to let go of, and what do I need to really move away from once and for all in my life? You know, I was on a mastermind call over the weekend with some people that I do astrology with in a study group. And we were talking about the astrology, and it started to really come out personal stories, which I love. I'm actually committing myself to doing more of my personal stories and my personal sharing on some of my videos. I have one now of something that personally happened to me during the Pisces new moon. That's on my Facebook page. And I talk about my own personal conflicts and what's happening with me. And the reason I do that is it's not because I'm totally comfortable with it. It's because I hope that my experiences help everyone out there in the world. And I'd love to hear yours. Maybe they'll help me or someone else in the community. But it was really interesting the way people on this call started to really talk about their childhood and some of the abuses that happened or things that happened. But yet it was really refreshing because they were people who had grown out of it, had moved away from it, had become, my voice is very dry, had become a different identity than the identity of the wound. And that was so important to hear, because I think in an energy like this, where things are being dredged up a little bit, and maybe these last 13 years, Neptune has brought you some challenge, spiritually so, belief system wise, very deep things. These are things that we sometimes stay in. And did you ever have a friend that every time you see them, the conversation somehow turns to, like, for instance, my mother was an alcoholic and she used to lock me in a closet. But, you know, I got over it. I'm fully grown now, and I don't have any of that, you know, residue. I don't even think about that anymore. But they talk about it all the time. And in the same conversation where they're talking about it, they're talking about how they're over it and they had to do all this healing work. And I think sometimes when people are like that or having that dialogue with you, that could be true. But I think too often they've become so identified with the wounding and so identified with the story that truly has become their identity. And whether it's a victim identity or an abused identity, or it's just a wounded identity, the wound becomes their life in some way. And that wound becomes the driver in their life, and not always in a positive way. And in this energy, we can release that. In this energy, the universe is really giving us the power to release those things so that we don't have a need to talk about them. And it's not about, oh, my alcoholic mother locked me in a closet. It becomes about what it really is about. I wasn't nurtured and I was abandoned, and I healed that. It's not about forgiving someone who locked you in the closet. It's not about trying to have relationships to drag someone in the closet with you so they can grieve with you for the rest of your life because you're in grief. It's about the feeling that you were given, the soul's intention of that experience. For instance, I was not nurtured and I was abandoned. What would the soul's intention be with that experience? It would be giving you that experience so that you find competence in your own person, so that somewhere along the line in those experiences of life, and they'll keep repeating until you find your competence and realize that it doesn't matter what another does to you, it matters what you do to yourself. And so now the abandonment, how do you heal abandonment? It doesn't matter if you have 50,000 partners that tell you they're never going to leave you. Eventually it will happen anyway because you don't believe that. You believe they're going to leave you. So those self-fulfilling prophecies keep happening. So you can't stay in the wound because the wound will keep happening. But once you rely on yourself and you realize, okay, how do I cure abandonment? Oh, I cure abandonment with safety. How can I feel safe? Well, I don't believe in anybody. I have trust issues. I better trust myself first. And then you establish that trust within yourself, and now you're attracting partners who are trustworthy. So you see how staying in the wound is so counterproductive to ever getting what you want. But yet we'll keep talking about it because we want the nurturing and the sympathy that no one can really give us because we can't rely on it because we're not trustworthy. We don't trust them, but we can give it to ourselves. So I hope you got all that. You can play the tape back because that's this energy. It's an energy that's going to help you with these eclipses that are coming, release the wound for good, to go into it. So if any of you out there are carrying those experiences of wounding from earlier life or from prior lives, go into the emotion of it, not the actual experience of what happened to you three-dimensionally in the world. What did it cause you? How is that wound revolving your life, right? And so this is beautiful energy because we can really, really do a lot of deep healing in this energy and kind of get rid of that baggage, that voice that keeps saying you don't have enough string to fly your kite. You can get rid of that and soar and soar and soar. So I'm going to read a couple of charts now from people who called in, unless anybody has any questions in the comments. Oh, Trisha Dwyer Johnston. How are you doing, Trish? Trish was so sweet. When I was in my wheelchair, yes, I was in a wheelchair. Can you believe that? I don't know how the hell that happened, but it did. But I look tired tonight. I am tired. Thanks, Trish. When I was in my wheelchair, Trish Johnston, love you, Trish. She's one of my agents. She sent me an Uber gift card. It was like so sweet. And so many people came and helped me. My friend Yvonne went and picked up a wheelchair for me and did my laundry for me. My friend Gina lent me a wheelchair. It was awesome. Deneen is watching. Hey, Deneen. Cheryl, is the new beginning about your awakening or leaving what hurts behind? It's both. It's both. This is an energy where once and for all we have an opportunity to finally let go of the thing that has been holding us back so that we can emerge new. So really be honest with yourselves and think about, what is it that really is holding you back? And I'm going to say hi to Pauline. She hasn't been on in a while. I think she's on now. Okay, so I picked two people. Thank you for all of you who sent in your charts. It was really cool to see all the people who want chart readings. Keep sending those emails, or you can just even post on my media or PM me on Facebook or wherever. You know how to get in touch with me. If you're going to email me, I'll put my email in the comment here. If you email me your birth date with time and place, I will always, on the last part of the show, every week, I'm going to pick two people to do a chart reading for. And it'll be like a, quickie poo kind of chart reading. Okay, so the first one, I'm going to pick Carrie Ann because she actually sent me something early this morning. And I thought it was so cool because she's supposed to be on the show. So we'll see a little more about her. We'll get to know her a little bit before she comes on. So Carrie Ann is a Libra sun. She's born October 14th, right, Carrie Ann? You can, if you're here, you can say in the comments. And she's a Libra sun and a Pisces rising. So this energy is really going to affect you quite a bit in your life right now. And I see also that your North Node is right there by your ascendant. Your North Node is actually 0 degrees of Pisces. So you've really had a lot of transition these past few months, let me tell you. Or I would say probably ever since Neptune went into Pisces, it's probably been triggering some things in you. So, and that's your first house, obviously, your ascendant's there. So what that is for you, Carrie, is self-discovery. And I wouldn't be surprised, even, I don't really know that much about your story yet, but even just knowing a little bit about you, I know this fits, but I would say this even if I knew nothing. With Pisces in the first house, your North Node there, and with, right now, you've got Saturn and Venus and Neptune, and the sun just went through that house. The last few years, that is self-discovery through connection to source. That is self-discovery through spirituality. So that's a really big player in your life right now, and it will be. Once that planet Neptune comes out of that first house and starts to go into your second house, which is Aries for you, that's going to really play a lot into your identity as far as your safety and self-preservation. That second house is where we form our values, and your moon is there. You have an Aries moon. So that's a fiery moon. An Aries moon and also your Chiron is there. So this is going to be a lot of healing for you in the next several years, like from 2025 to 2027. I would say you're going to go through quite a bit of healing and healing of your identity, dropping out of the way you thought you were supposed to be, what people dictated to you, just what structures formed for you. You're really going to start to come into your own identity and bring the spirituality and the self-discovery from those spiritual things forward now into that second house of values and where you really can form authenticity in your identity. And what feels safe and what doesn't is going to be a really big theme in your life. This is a new emergence of what is safety and security for you. The other thing I want to say is the Libra and Aries eclipses are going to be super important for you as well, because it's your second and eighth house. And Libra is your eighth house. That's where your sun is, obviously. And an eighth house, Libra and sun, is your self-direction, is all about transcendence and transformation. Your outward identity and your life direction is very formed by your belief systems and the way that you transform certain things. But you have to be very careful about what you attach to and what you merge with, because attachments and merging are going to be a theme throughout your entire life, and loss. Like you get attached to someone or something and there's a loss there because you probably really weren't supposed to be attached to it anyway. But what's happening is that second house, eighth house access is that second house Aries moon is saying what makes me safe. I need to control this, or I need to attach myself to this. And the eighth house, which is the axis, says, oh, but you're not supposed to do it in that way. You're not supposed to be so forceful or controlling or want it that bad. It shouldn't be an attachment. It should be a merging. A merging. merging, merging of two things, not an attachment to it. So in other words, you're here to learn not to grasp and hold on to something, but to allow and merge with it. And that's going to be your lifelong lesson. You've also got Uranus in that eighth house with your sun and Mercury in Libra. So that to me means sudden unexpected changes in the relationship sector that causes the transcendence. It becomes the catapult, the eruption. You have, sudden eruptions that cause the transcendence is definitely going to be a running theme in your life. And it will be until you learn the safety and security from within that allows you the surrender of merging without the attachment of control and fear. All right. And don't we all struggle with that somewhat? So these eclipses are going to emerge energy in those themes for you, and probably emerge it in a way that you're going to be releasing something from that transcendence sector of your house, and possibly a loss or an attachment, but don't fret too much because it's happening in order to give you a new emergence in what really is safety and security for you. And I call that kind of energy the energy of we are in illusion, right? Like I was just talking about Pisces, and Neptune energy is all about delusion and illusion. And we're going to all be broken out of a lot of illusions in this energy. For you, in this case, it could be an illusion of someone that you think you need to attach to for security, but you're going to realize that person is actually a restriction. And so we confuse security with restriction. And that's how I like to identify this axis. It's one that I'm quite familiar with because I have quite a few planets in that same sector, and very similar. So just take that with you and know that. And if you have any questions, just put them in the comments and I'll try and answer. So I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about that. And if you wanted to, yep, that's you. So so I hope, and you can always play the show back and that mindset and listen to that again, Carrie. But that's really the reading for you as far as the eclipses go. Look and see even what started to become a little blip on the radar during the new moon in Pisces around March 10th, because that's like the precursor to all the energy that's coming in. But something is going to show itself as far as an attachment that you're going to probably let go of, lose, might happen a little suddenly with Uranus there. And then I'm trying to just make some inventory. Yeah, definitely, because you are an 11th house Taurus. So that energy is going to definitely be like something breaks up. Energy breaks up. It may cause a little bit of pain, but not for long, because I'm going to tell you that energy was not your security. It's your restriction. All right. Fly high. So next person that I'm going to read is Gina Reese. I don't know if she's online today, online tonight or not. If you are in the comments, just say, hey, Gina. I know I do have a Gina on, but I don't know if it was the same Gina. So, okay, next person. And I'm just doing the 2 readings tonight. So Gina, oh, you're welcome, Carrie Ann. I definitely am going to call you. I'm trying to catch up with everything. We had like kind of a little bit of a crisis in my industry in real estate this week. So I'm kind of busy with meetings, but I'll get there. So Gina Reese, you are a November 3rd person. You are a sun in Scorpio. I love Scorpio. I am a Scorpio moon. So I get all that Scorpio energy. It's very intense. You're a Scorpio moon, you're an Aquarius, a Scorpio sun, an Aquarius rising, and your moon is in Taurus. So the energy that we're in right now is, for you, where Uranus is transiting in Taurus for the world, for you, that's right on your moon. And so the moon is the identity. It's the emotional identity. It's who we really think of ourselves as far as the identity of nurturing and who we want to become. So with Uranus sitting in that portion of your chart, it is your 3rd house of communication, curiosity. So I wouldn't be surprised if there become sudden unexpected changes, especially in the energy that we're coming up to, where Jupiter and Uranus are going to be together in Taurus, which is your 3rd house, and they're going to be right on your moon. So the moon and sun are opposite for you in the chart. Your Scorpio sun and a Taurus moon. So in the next few weeks especially, you're probably going to experience some sudden change that is about communicating who you are or asking questions about who you are. You're going to have curiosity about who you are identity-wise. And when I say identity, the moon, our identity as far as the moon goes is, what is truly my authentic path? What truly do I want to spend my time doing, and what truly makes me feel safe and secure and happy? You know, that's our true identity. And you're undergoing a lot of change with that. And that's going to continue for a while. With Jupiter and Uranus in that house for you, you're going to want to communicate that change. You're going to maybe ask questions of yourself, or maybe even it's a good time for you to do some information seeking, being curious about things. Maybe you even take a new line of like a class or a course of study or something, gaining information, you know, a book or something that you're doing to bring in information that really plays into what you want your identity to be. The eclipses for you happening in Libra and Aries are in also your 2nd and 8th house. And you have your Uranus in that 8th house as well. So this can be sudden change in relationships. And with what's going on in the Taurus sector for you, I wouldn't be surprised if this is sudden change in relationships that make you really question and understand what you really identify as far as safety and security. It's very similar to Carrie's chart, but your planets are in different places, but your houses are very, very similar. And you're an Aquarius ascendant. So this is new emergence for you. You're coming into a whole new phase in your life of new energy. So really, really pay attention and really try to be very observant about what is coming up for you, the experiences that you're having. Like, really try and be the observer in your world, because there's a lot of things that are going to come in message-wise and clues for you and meaning for you. I can't read that right now. Wait a minute. I saw something come across. So, what I was there's a bot on, I think. Sophia Radzino Medium, if you could take that out, guys. So it's almost like in these eclipses, I'm feeling like something happens in the relationship sector of your house that can really shake you up a bit. All right. But it's inevitably happening for you to re-identify what safety and security is for you. And it's a new emergence, a new phase, and a new direction. And for you especially, this is very empowering. It may not feel like it in the beginning, but this is a very empowering thing. So just know that the changes that emerge for you, Gina, are really going to shake you up a little bit, but you come out with some real changes to who you really are and a stronger you. Almost getting the vibe of like Wonder Woman when she like changes and becomes like this powerful super creature. It might take you a little while to get into that energy, but this is an emergence and a change from the old way to the new way. Now, I do just want to say with your sun in Scorpio here, that's in your ninth house. So you're also probably going to be on a quest for your own belief systems. And you probably are naturally curious about belief systems, finding what's true for you. And that's really what this change of identity is. It's like you finally come into your truth and your authenticity. But it happens, and the catapult for it is definitely some kind of a relationship shakeup. And I think that it's good. I think that in the long run, this is going to be a really good thing for you. It may even happen at your hand. It might be something that you come in and shake up. So, so that is definitely what we got for Gina. So again, if you guys want your astrology read on the show, just send me your birth date info and all that stuff, and we will pick 2 charts every week to read on the show. So I'm going to go to cards for like 2 minutes. I just want to pull some cards out for the energy of the week. And this is just a general reading for everybody. Going to pick like 3 cards for the week and see where we're all getting this energy from, because we got the spring equinox coming. Monday is that lunar eclipse in Libra, going to be huge. I'll probably do a couple of more videos on my social about that, or my Zenkuda on YouTube. Okay, Spirit, give us some message about the energy that's coming in this week for all of us so that we can really be on our life path. Okay. Oh, love the sun there. Okay, so wow, the first hit I'm getting off of this is that this is really kind of symbolic of the eclipse energy coming in next Monday and what we're going towards this week. I have the 6 of Wands reversed in the first card in the spread. And when the 6 of Wands is this way in a spread, it means, you know, moving away from an emotional situation, going on a journey in order to find something of betterment. It's something that we are moving away from. And it was in reverse, which means it hasn't happened yet. And I really take this as kind of telling us that to be prepared for that lunar eclipse, because it's going to show us what we need to really move away from, you know, paddle away from. And then we've got this beautiful sun card, which is the rebirth, because once we let go of whatever our boat needs to sail away from, then this beautiful energy of rebirth. Look at the sun here, symbolizing that 0 degree of Aries and the new spring equinox. And you have the little baby on the horse coming in under the sun. That's a sign of rebirth, renewal energy. So we've got to really release what's no longer in the picture for us, what no longer aligns with where we want to go. And then I have the 8 of Wands in reverse. The 8 of Wands is the only card in the tarot deck that does not have a figure or a person or any animal or anything on it. It's strictly an action card. It's a card that is completely in action and only means moving forward. And when it's in reverse like this, it means it hasn't happened yet. This is definitely the energy of the April 8th eclipse, where we're ready to move forward and we're going to be able to take action. If I put this right side up, you'll be able to see how much the action in this card really plays in. We've got a beautiful gold background that means prosperity and abundance, and all this new growth on the wands, all these leaves, which means new things coming in, new abundance coming in for us, and all the light background. So this is us moving towards that new energy. Hasn't happened yet. That's why it came out reversed, just like this card was reversed. The lunar eclipse hasn't happened yet. So this to me really speaks of the lunar eclipse, letting go of something, really partaking of that 0 energy, that sun in Aries, in order to activate the solar eclipse in Aries to move forward with our life. So Spirit is really confirming what the message of tonight's show is. So in closing, I'm going to tell you guys, definitely prepare and use this energy really well. The correct use of this energy is to really finally release and let go of those things that are holding you back from all the authenticity that you really want to bring into your life. The sky's the limit after April 8th. We're really going to have a universe where as long as we've let go of the things that really, really held us back, we're going to really be able to move forward in our lives to things that we've only dreamed of, that Neptune and Piscean energy is there to show us how the impossible can be possible. So it's really beautiful, beautiful times. So just amazing. So, and I have so many projects in the works now that it's just really a great time for me. I'm really happy about it. A little tired, but the exhaustion is good. It means things are changing and things are happening. So I'm here to support you every step of the way on your journey with astrology and all kinds of, spiritual things, tarot, all kinds of energy reading, meditations. So definitely, if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to my Zen Kuda YouTube channel. And you're going to have more videos there. I'm working on a whole series right now. And I'm also creating some platforms for my writing as well. So 2024 is going to be a beautiful year for the Zen Kuda community and the soul space so that we can really have peaceful lives with passion and purpose. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be here next Monday at 7 o'clock in the soul space. And I hope you'll join me. Bye-bye.